All right, the Terriers get 2 straight home games at the Ben Johnson Arena this week. Thursday night, the Furman Paladins will come in. Then Saturday, one of the top teams in the Southern Division, the College of Charleston, will be in. Both tip time 7 o'clock. Again, we're joined by Associate Head Coach Paul Harrison. Coach Young on the road tonight in Greensboro, trying to round up some recruits. So he is up there. What'd you say? They got a big event going on up there?
Yeah, during Martin Luther King holiday, they have something in the Greensboro Coliseum where there are games going from 1:30 in the, well, actually earlier than that, 10:30 in the morning all the way up till about 9 o'clock at night.
All high school teams?
All high school teams. And one of the kids we signed is playing in it, Jalen Allen, two-guard or combo guard from Christ School.
Right.
So Coach wanted to go up there, but also there are several other teams to see with unsigned prospects. So.
All righty. Furman's coming in. We've already talked a little about the Paladins. They will be here on Thursday night. They beat you in Greenville, close ball game, 65-61. Bobby Austin, their sixth-year senior, hit a huge three-pointer in the final 15 seconds, basically to seal it. Looking back at that first game against Furman and the fact they shot it so well from three, even though you did a pretty good job of contesting it, what would be one or two things that will get Wofford over the hump perhaps against these guys on Thursday?
Well, you know, perhaps there are a couple of times where we fired on Colin Redick, which means you double down on Colin Redick, and then you're going to play zone on the backside. And if they skip it to the backside and they make the extra pass, there's more of an ability to, or more of an opportunity to get more of an open three. Maybe you do a little bit less of full double teaming and more what we called halfway to dig, where you're kind of cat and mouse going and making them think you're coming to double and you're still going to get out on the shooters. But, you know, I thought the second half we did a tremendous job. Now, they made a few threes late clock on shot fakes and were flying by them, you know, stay down on closeouts. The one thing is, you know, you got to close out all the way to the body. When you recover after helping, you need to get all the way to the shooter's body so any shot he takes is contested. And it really kind of forces him to take either a bad three or decide to try and drive the ball. And we feel like if we can do that, then maybe you can force them to do some stuff they don't want to do. They can drive the ball, but there are a couple of guys that are very good three-point shooters.
What are your thoughts on their point guard, Stephen Kroon? He's been forced into playing because of the injury to Jordan Lloyd. He's a true freshman, 6 foot even. He's averaging second best in the conference in assists, about 4.1 assists per game. Your thoughts on him, how you play him defensively, and how good a point guard he can be at this level in this conference?
Oh, I think he's going to be good. I think he already is pretty good. You know, we watched the Charleston game down there, and Stephen Kroon lived in the paint. Every single time he used a ball screen, he turned the corner. He got all the way in the paint. That's why we've been trying to, you know, we'll mix it up in terms of how we're going to guard ball screens on him. He's dynamic in terms of getting into the paint, creating for others, and also getting to the rim and shooting free throws. He shoots a heck of a lot of free throws. Not a great three-point shooter, but wouldn't you know it, he stole that outlet pass in the first half, and he took a three even though he was the only guy in the front court with our 3 defenders back and right in the clown's mouth.
Yeah.
That wasn't encouraging to see, but it is what it is, and he's a very good player, and he's somebody that you have to really contain his dribble penetration because he can create for others.
You brought up Colin Redick, Furman center. He's 6'9". I think he goes about 245. Big, strong. He's been in the league.
Only 245.
Well, it
seems like it's.
That's what the roster lists him at.
Goodness,
I can only go with the listed weight.
Yeah.
But here's a guy. First 3 years, his numbers weren't great.
Yeah.
His numbers really weren't great. And now this year he's better than 12 and 6. What has made him better, other than the standard answer? Well, he's more experienced.
Well, Colin Redick, we're talking about a guy who's exceptionally talented. He always has been exceptionally talented. If you remember his sophomore year in the Ben Johnson Arena when we had our second consecutive NCAA tournament team, when they beat us in overtime, Colin Redick was making jump hooks on the baseline from like 15 feet, 14 feet. He's exceptionally talented. And as what happens a lot of times with seniors, you know that Father Time is ticking,
right?
And you know it's your last go around, and you're going to lay it all out on the table, and that's what he's done. You know, he's really he's gotten in better shape. All right, and he's got some moves in the post that are nobody in the league can guard. I mean, he destroyed Baru.
Yeah,
We watched the Charleston game. He destroyed Baru, and Ajay Baru is a terrific post defender,
right.
And he had his way with him. So, I mean, Colin Redick is somebody who you got to try and make it so he doesn't catch it deep in the post. He can finish over either shoulder. Like I said, next to Jay Cohen and Lucas Troutman, I mean, Colin Redick is right up there. Ajay Baru, I mean, those guys are very, very good post players.
Now they've got another 6'9" guy inside, and Ferrara, the freshman, Kendrick Ferrara. He had 17 when Wofford played at Greenville a week ago. So, you know, the Terriers don't have much size in the post. How do you try to compensate when the other team comes at you with a couple of 6'9" guys?
Yeah. Well, Ferrara, 2 of his 17 were threes, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. He made a 3, I think, in the first half, and then he made a 3 in the second half when we sort of backed off him, and that was discouraging because we don't want to back off of him. You know,
right.
You know he's very capable. The one thing about Ferrara is you got, like with Ferrara, same thing. If you make a big not catch it really deep to the rim and deep, good post position, like a step or 2 off the block, now he has to take a few dribbles to get himself in better post position, in which case you can come help.
Right.
Now, you don't want to sell out on your help, but you can help and kind of make him think you're going to sell out on your help.
All right, if folks are at the Benjo Thursday night watching Wofford Furman, what are one or two things early on they should look for that will tell you this could be a pretty good night or this got to be fixed?
Well, I mean, one thing is we have to play with the kind of energy we played with in the second half. In the second half, we turned them over. We got deflections. We were up under their chins. We were kind of trying to be the aggressor. And if we can do that, and we're not just trying to, help on the roll, and if they're comfortable making passes, if they're comfortable using their ball screens, if they're comfortable in their offense, then we're going to have a hard time. But this is no secret. It's the same thing that like UNCG did to us.
Yeah.
If you can make a team uncomfortable on the offensive side of the floor, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be a difficult night. But if guys are in a rhythm, when guys are in a rhythm, they play much better. We have to make sure they're never getting a rhythm. They're always uncomfortable. All
righty. Then now let's look ahead to Saturday's game, another home game at the Benjo. College of Charleston, brand new coach. Doug Wojcik comes over from, I believe, Tulsa, where he put together a pretty good run. He's in his first year at C of C, taking over for Bobby Cremens. First of all, has he brought anything different? Do they run different sets? Do they play a different style? What is he trying to do down there?
Well, they're much more deliberate offensively. They're not as and when I say this, this is no criticism of Bobby Cremens' teams.
Yeah.
They're not as freewheeling.
Yeah.
You know, Bobby Cremens' teams were looking to outscore you, and they did. And let's be honest. I mean, Bobby Cremens' teams. There's a reason why the guy has a court named after him in an ACC gym, you know, and they scored. Now the Charleston teams are always going to be able to score. Andrew Lawrence is exceptionally talented, and then Anthony Stitt, although he's had a bad last couple games, is very talented. The Thomas kid's talented, Baru, Wiedemann, the list goes on. But the thing about them is they're really committed to kind of being deliberate, throw it into the post a little bit more. Some of the sets are more intricate, and that's just the way Coach Wojcik's played. And it was successful at Tulsa with with some good teams, and he's brought it to Charleston.
Charleston's glory days, a lot of it was predicated on defense under your guy, John Kress.
Yeah.
Coach Wojcik, a different defensive philosophy than what we've seen recently?
Yeah, it's a little more hard-nosed.
Yeah.
It's a little more they're not relying on outscoring you. So if they're not going to rely on outscoring you and they're going to put a premium on trying to stop you, they're going to be a little more physical. The Charleston teams could play, and there was a time back, like I said, our second year we went to the NCAA tournament. We went down there, and the second half defensively they were terrific.
Yeah,
and they blew us out.
Yes.
And so, Coach Cremens' teams could do that too. But Coach Cremens' teams also just seem to get out and transition even more and more guard scoring dominant, whereas Coach Wojcik's teams want to throw it into the post. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to skin a cat, and both of them are successful.
What do you see as a key for a young Wofford team to go in against a Charleston team that will start, if they continue to pattern, they start a senior in Lawrence, a couple of juniors in Willis Hall and Thomas, and then Baru is listed as a sophomore, but he doesn't play like a sophomore.
No, he's a big
He's a
guy.
big 6'9" kid. He started
guy.
at UConn, I believe, right?
No. Baru, well, no, he's a true sophomore.
Oh, is he
he's a true sophomore. Yeah,
okay,
he's
but
a big guy.
Looking at that kind of lineup, what does Wofford need to do at home that night? I know it's a tall order, but
well, Charleston's been sort of up and down all year
right.
too. Sanford actually, the loss at home to Sanford is there's no shame in that. Sanford is 5-1 in the league.
Right.
What you have to do is you got to do what we talked about today. You have to find a way to get open shots, okay? Because good college basketball teams offensively are teams that get open shots.
Mm-hmm.
Good college players make open shots. If you're trying to rely on making contested shots, you have a hard time beating anybody. And then defensively, you have to be very sticky. You have to make sure that when they throw it down into the post, that they can't just kind of improve their post position, and they can't just kind of lay it up over the front of the rim. You got to make them uncomfortable, and you got to keep. Charleston's very good. Not only Lawrence and Stitt are great penetrators.
Right.
They make shots too, open threes, but they're great penetrators. You've got to keep guys in front of you, beat them to the spot, and make them have to pick up the ball now with a dead dribble or shoot a contested shot without fouling.
Now they've got a junior college transfer on the wing, Anthony Thomas. He's 6'7". He's a junior. What kind of element does he add? He's in the starting lineup most nights.
He started his career at App. Yeah, he started at App 2 years ago and then went to junior college. Was it Hutchinson Community College? Yeah.
Yes, in Kansas.
And what he can do is he's a slasher driver. Now, he's a capable three-point shooter, but that's not what he kind of hangs his hat on, slashing and driving. And he's a very good defensive player, particularly on the ball. And he's a very good offensive rebounder type. So he's got a lot of Wiggins in him.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But Wiggins was, a fifth-year senior who was exceptionally talented. Although Anthony Thomas is good and very talented, you're going to have to play a little bit more. But he's got a lot of Wiggins in him in terms of he's a very talented player.
All righty, so that's the week ahead for the Terriers. Couple of tall orders. Furman coming to town Thursday night, and then C of C on Saturday night. Both tip-offs at the Ben Johnson Arena will be 7 o'clock. Welcome back into Wild Wing Cafe. This is Inside Wofford Basketball. Mark Hauser. We are now joined by Wofford forward Lee Skinner out of Lombard, Illinois. He had a double-double the other night at Elon, 13 points, 14 rebounds, among the conference leaders in rebounding so far this season, and he's had a nice sophomore campaign. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing fine. This is a different kind of year for you. Different kind of year for the whole team. Last year, 12-6 in the league. You got a first-round bye in the SoCon tournament, but yet, some veteran guys, Losing and Giltner and Drew Kroll. This year, you're kind of resetting the table. So what has it been like as a sophomore, but really in some ways being an upperclassman on this team because there are very few juniors and seniors?
Yeah, it's been a joy to be with the new guys, the younger guys, kind of take them under our wing a little bit, show them the ropes, show them how it's supposed to be done in this program. A couple of us had to step up and take that veteran role and be able to be mature enough to be, have fun, but at the same time get a job done. And it's been a lot of fun.
Last year there was a lot of winning. This year there's a lot of learning. What's it like knowing that, not knowing that it's going to be tougher every night, but just not seeing the wins come as quickly as they did last year?
We're being patient right now. We get edgy and frustrated, of course, but the main thing is that we stick together. Attention to detail when we go over each scouting report for each game. We try to take the good and the bad out of each game and move on to the next one and prepare the same way for the next one, and sooner or later the wins are going to come.
I know you came up short at Elon the other night, but Coach Young, in his post-game thoughts, was very encouraged about some of the steps that the team took forward in that ball game. Do you, as a player, feel the same thing?
Definitely. I thought Elon was a really fun game, although we lost. A couple games before that, we weren't having too much fun out there. There was just something not clicking. It just didn't feel right. But against Elon, we were out there. We played with passion. We played hard. It was just a different feeling, and it felt really good. And playing like that will get us a lot of wins. What
was it like playing in that atmosphere? It's a very small, tight gym at Elon. It seats. They listed at 1,600. It was a sellout. They were turning people away. There were 1,600 in the stands. Their student section was loud. What's it like playing on the road in that kind of atmosphere where everybody seems to be right on top of you?
It's a great experience. Playing at Elon, small gym. It's a little bit louder, even though they have less fans, but it's just great to be out there. Playing on the road, everybody's against you. It just makes playing together that much more special, and you get a better feeling when things go your way.
Talking with Lee Skinner from Lombard, Illinois, second year with the Terriers as a sophomore. Tell us about Lombard.
Lombard, I miss it. Anybody in Lombard right now listening, hi.
They got any snow up there?
As we speak, I'm not sure. I heard it was pretty nice the other day, maybe like 40s if that's nice. But Lombard's a nice small town, nice people up there, but yeah.
And you played a little football in high school too, right?
I did. I played football all throughout high school, and I decided to go with basketball. You know,
I've run into a lot of basketball coaches who in the recruiting process say they like the fact that their kid also played football. What'd you learn in football that helps you in basketball, if anything?
Probably being aggressive and just the physical aspect of the game, bringing that to basketball. I mean, obviously you got to be a little bit more smart. You can't really take someone's head off in a way you can in football, but having a nose for the ball, like, rebounding, I've heard a lot coaches say if he could take a hit in football, he might be a good rebounder and bruiser in basketball.
So did you grow up like a Bears fan, Chicago Bulls fan?
Definitely a Bulls fan. I'm in between. I was born in Madison, Wisconsin, so I'm a Packers fan. But, when the Bears were making their run here earlier in the playoffs, I was definitely rooting for them.
But as a Bulls fan, who is your favorite Chicago Bull?
Derrick Rose.
Oh, okay.
Derrick Rose, definitely. He went to Simeon High School. It's right up the road from where I was, and it's just cool to see a guy come from the same area and make it and just do great. And hopefully he'll be all right when he comes back.
Now, after high school, you went to prep school for a year at Fork Union, and that's where Coach Young found you. Coach Young played at Fork Union once upon a time. What was that year of prep school like for you?
It was probably the longest year of my life. Fork Union was tough, but I loved it. I loved what I got out of it, and it taught me a lot. It was a great experience.
Very nice. Now, Furman comes back Thursday night. They got you in Greenville a week and a half ago. Now you get them at your place. Mm-hmm. Talk about the rematch with the Paladins and what you think the Terriers need to do better.
Well, when we were down there last week playing them, they came out early, 7 for 11 in the first half, I think,
right.
Or unless they finished
from 3, yeah.
From 3, and that's going to happen sometimes. Team's going to be hot right away, and you just got to keep your head. But what we got to do better is probably more ball pressure and then just get out after and be aggressive. We can't let that happen from the arc, especially early on in the game.
All right, Lee, great to see you.
Great to see you.
All right, that is Wofford forward Lee Skinner joining us. We are live from Wild Wing Cafe in downtown Spartanburg. One more segment with Coach Harrison. All right, welcome back in. Back along with Associate Head Coach Paul Harrison as we are live from Wild Wing Cafe in downtown Spartanburg. All right, we got 2 home games this week. We've talked about that. Terriers right now sitting at 7-12. Mm-hmm. General question once again, what gives you encouragement about this club heading down the stretch, heading into the last 10, 12 games of conference play?
Well, I thought we played well against Elon. You know, we didn't play well against UNCG. We played very well against Furman in the second half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to look at, we played 6 halves of basketball last week, and 3 of them were good.
Yeah.
And I guess another encouraging thing is that we're kind of continuing to identify roles, and and that's an ongoing process with a young team. And if we play the way we did on Saturday, we're going to be in a lot of games, and then it's just up to us to find a way to make some shots down the stretch, which we weren't able to do against App, which we weren't able to do against Elon, but we're going to figure it out, and we're going to be able to do it eventually. It's just going to have to come.
After winning so many games for 3 years. I mean, this program, you talked about 7 all-league players, Brad Losing, academic All-American, Noah Dahl.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We've won the most Southern Conference games of any team over the last 3 years.
So that's going to set up my question. Yeah. 3 tremendous years.
It's like a plug.
And what's that now?
It was like a plug.
It was. Yeah. And now you're rebuilding. Let's face it. This is a rebuilding year. How often does the coaching staff have to check themselves and remind themselves, wait a minute, this is a different cast of characters?
We don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
You don't have to remind yourself to be patient ever?
Well, you have to, but at the same time, nobody cares.
Yeah. Well.
You're playing against teams that don't care.
Right.
The only thing they care about is they want to beat you, and part of the reason is because you've been successful against them over the last 3-4 years. Nobody cares. And so you certainly don't want to have your guys feel like it's okay to just keep playing, this role that, we're so young. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Okay.
You know what? We are what we put on the floor. And we're going to get better. We're going to continue to get better. It is, don't get me wrong, it's hard. It's hard because – we even last year was supposed to be a rebuilding year, but you return a guy who started for 4 years who was maybe the most valuable player in the league. He wasn't the most outstanding, but he's the most valuable. He played, at a 40-minute game, he played 47 minutes, and then Giltner had played like 39 and a half minutes. So, but at the same time, just keep getting better. If you keep getting better, Nick Saban talks about the process. If you just worry about the process and keep getting better, good things are going to happen. And then eventually, once it starts to turn and you win a couple close games, you start riding that wave.
All right, Coach, good to see you. We'll see you Thursday.
Good to see you, Mark.
Paul Harrison. Paul Harrison, Associate Head Coach, joining us here live from Wild Wing. Always a pleasure to see the coach.